Should have opened this up before I got situated. Hold on. This look is a love letter to her family, a ridiculous... But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, let me try that again. I'm going to throw my hair at my face. Okay. Hi everybody, my name is Kelsey, and we're about to get very, very nerdy with the very last week of Magical Readathon. It's Saturday. Is it still morning? It technically is. Yeah, it's technically still morning. Yay. On the very last week of the month / the last week for Magical Readathon. Crazy. Can't believe we've gotten here. But I do have plans for today. So today it's going to be a chill day, mostly. We have some Zoom game plans later tonight. We have friends from college that we're gonna Zoom and play games with later, so I'm excited about that. And I need to run an errand really, really quickly to the post office. I need to send something, and they close pretty early in the afternoon. But other than that, it's gonna be a chill day. Plus, I forgot until I woke up this morning and I saw something online that this weekend is the 24-hour weekend of the Magical Readathon. So I thought I would take part in that as much as I can. I'm not doing 24 hours. It's not logical for me to try to be able to stay up for 24 hours. It's just not going to happen. So I am going to start it, instead of starting it at 6 p.m. my time, I'm going to start at 6 p.m. UK time, which I believe is 2. No, I think it's 1. Sorry, math is hard. I think it's 1 here, so I'll start probably before 1, but about 1 is my plan. So as far as my reading plans for the week, it's going to be an ambitious week. We'll see what happens this week, especially because I have Friday off, and so I'm taking a long weekend to go visit my parents, and I'm not sure logistically if I'm going to be vlogging that weekend or if I'm going to stop it in the middle of the week and then just like hopefully that weekend I can just like be with my parents, plus trying to get a vlog up on a Saturday when I'm there. It's just not logical. So it's probably going to be a shorter week this week, so I'm going to do like a weekend vlog plus a couple of days is really what this is going to turn into. So for the fact that it's probably going to be like a 5-day instead of a 7-day, it's going to be ambitious, but the book I'm bringing over from last week is Dial for Aunties. We're shocked, I know. And this is the one that is required for my career, so I have to finish this one this week no matter what, which I'm going to do. I'm not surprised. I've got a little less than 4 hours left in the audiobook. I haven't touched it since I ended last week's vlog. And I'm really bad at listening to audiobooks on the weekends. I don't know what it is, but when I'm doing things on the weekends, I kind of forget audiobooks exist. So I probably won't touch this one until Monday, but considering I've only got like 3.5, maybe something like that, left in it, this will probably be finished on Monday. And this is the only one, like I said, that I have to read before the end of the month as far as my career goes. So bringing this one over, have plans to read it. The other thing I'd like to read this week sometime, or at least I just want to get it started, is really where we're at, and that is In the Shadow of the Empress by Nancy Goldstone. This is a nonfiction book about Maria Theresa, who is the mother of Marie Antoinette. So it follows Maria Theresa and then her 3 daughters. It's quite chunky, but I do have the audiobook, and I'd like to start this today if I can. We'll see. I think starting this reading while I listen will be a good thing, but also just having a lot of uninterrupted audiobook time would be really good for this. So this is probably a good book to read maybe later in the week when I'm like driving. This is the other one that I'd really like to get done this week. We'll see if it happens, because I am trying to read 1 nonfiction and 1 middle grade every single month. I've completed the middle grade, but I haven't even started the nonfiction. So as long as I start it, I'm a happy human. So that is the other one that I'd like to really dive into this week. As far as today, with the readathon happening, I have a couple of relatively short books that are on this TBR, so I thought I'd go ahead and maybe focus on those during the readathon. So the first one is a poetry collection called Aphrodite Made Me Do It by Trista Matter. This one will go in for the class of, I didn't tell you what any of these classes were for. I'm really good at this. This one will go in for the class of lore, which is just something that's based on mythology. This is a modernized feminist story based on Aphrodite, so we've got that one. And then I also have this really small novella called Can't Escape Love. It's the fourth book in the series, the second novella, so it's like 3.2, or 2.2 in the series. Reluctant Royals by Alyssa Cole. I do have the audiobook of this. It's super short, so it's probably only going to be like maybe an hour or two. And this one goes in for Spells and Incantations, which is a short story or essay. I would consider novellas to be relatively short. So those are the two that I'd like to get done, you know, today during the readathon. We'll see what happens. In the Shadow of the Empress, this one was for Inscription, which is an intimidating read because it's quite large. And then Dial A for Aunties is for Conjuration, which is a source of light on the cover. So we've got the chandelier here. So that's my plan. And then if I finish those by some crazy miracle, we'll see. I'd like to at least start A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. I've had her books on multiple TBRs, and I feel bad for not actually having read any of them yet. So I'd love to at least start this one. Because like sometimes at work it's hard to focus with like the Nancy Goldstone, a nonfiction audiobook in, so it might be easier to do this one. So I might be doing both of those at the same time sometime this week. I'm not sure. But this is the other one that I would really like to get to. So I've got 5 books that I'd like to read in 5 days. This is not going to happen. This is crazy ambitious, but that's the plan. That's the idea. There's no way. That's the idea of what's going on. So that's what this week is going to look like. I'm going to go run to the post office real quick and then we can start the day. Ooh, I kind of want Starbucks, you know? we were talking about Starbucks at work the other day with a couple of coworkers. Actually, it was yesterday at lunch. We were talking about how good Starbucks is and how good their croissants are. And it makes me really, really want one. So I think I'm going to go get Starbucks while I'm out dropping this off and get a croissant. Because, like, there's just something about that sounds amazing, and I kind of want it a lot. So I'm gonna go do that, and then I'm gonna come home and plop down and maybe watch an episode of something, maybe get started on reading. We'll see what happens, but I'm gonna take you along. Today is a very chill day at home, and I'm excited.
Thank you so much for waiting.
Yeah, can I get a grande iced dirty chai with just 1 shot, please? And then a chocolate croissant if you have any.
Okay, would you like anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you. Hello, it's Monday, and I am actually at home. I was able to go home a little bit earlier today, so I thought I'd take this grand opportunity and give you some updates, because I actually do have some. So my amazing Saturday plans that I had this great idea for fell through, because of course I did. My little errand took much longer because the location I needed to go to, there was not one near me, so I had to go pretty far away. So I didn't actually get a whole lot of reading done. So I basically didn't participate in the 24-hour readathon at all, which is fine. I'm not crazy upset about it. But I was able to finish Aphrodite Made Me Do It by Trissa Mater. I did finish this all on Saturday. I started it in the afternoon and then finished it like that night in bed, I think, before going to sleep. So I was able to finish this. I gave it 4 stars. This was quite good. What I liked about this is it was very fascinating because this is a like feminist modern look at Aphrodite, but there are sections to this book, so it's like goes back and forth between talking about Aphrodite and being in the perspective of Aphrodite, and then being in the perspective of the poet, aka Trissa. So I thought that was really interesting because it goes from like Aphrodite airs her grievances, the poet airs her grievances, Aphrodite speaks on love, the poet speaks on love, and so like it was kind of like there were poems in here, and there's art in here and everything. I'm trying to find like, well, you saw some in here. There's some that I can't show you because they're not quite appropriate, but there was quite a lot of random art in here as well that kind of added to the benefit of this. And it wasn't just poems. It's like, it says at the beginning, it was poems, prose, and art, which I thought was very interesting. It's just this collection of stuff, honestly. And I just really like seeing some of the very feminist looks at Aphrodite, and then having the poet kind of talk about her experience as well that somehow related to what was going on. And I like seeing that like dual perspective. Now, huge trigger warnings to rape and sexual assault in here because it is on the page. It is very much talked about. So just kind of be wary of that. But I did find this really interesting. I liked, like I said, the look at Aphrodite. This is from a queer author, I believe, because there was a few things in here that made me lean towards that. So I'm not 100% sure if that's accurate, but I want to say that it is. And so I'm thinking own voices a little bit here on some of the situations. But it definitely has a lot of those tougher subjects in it. But I liked how she related it back to Aphrodite, Greek gods, things like that. I always found that really interesting, seeing the parallels between her life and then like the life of Aphrodite. I just thought that was really interesting. So I'm very glad I read this. Gave it 4 stars, like I mentioned. That was for lore, which has to do with mythology in some way. So I was able to get that one done. Yay. And then today I did it. I finally finished Dial A for Aunties. It was very good. Now that we've gotten to the end, we finally got to the parts that I found really, really interesting. And I ended up giving this one 4 stars. It is the most, I don't think I've talked about this at all besides the fact that I'm still reading it. This is the most ridiculous story ever. So this basically, I know I've talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't really talked about it since, but it follows our main character, Madeline, and she and her 4 aunts, well, her mother and her 3 aunts, all have this wedding business together. So each aunt does something specific. One is the baker, one is her mom's the florist, one is makeup and hair, and one is the entertainment, so like the singer, and then Madeline takes the photos. And so it's this big kind of collaborative thing. You get them all inclusive if you hire their family. And so she and her aunts get hired at the super like A-list wedding, but the night before she goes on a blind date that ends in her date dying, basically. And it's her and her aunts trying to figure out what to do about that, and this body ending up at the wedding. Oh, and by the way, the guy who owns the venue that they're going to is someone that she dated when she was in college and still has the feels for. So it was really interesting because, like, you have this utterly ridiculous plot. Like, there's no way this would happen in real life. So you have this ridiculous plot, and then you've got this, like, this male love interest that is one of my favorite love interests. He's so friggin' sweet. And kind of a second chance romance of sorts. Author did write a note at the beginning. So she says right here that this book is a love letter to my family, a ridiculously large bunch with a long history of immigration. All 4 of her grandparents came from China to Indonesia in 1920 and 1930. So I think it's really cool to have that representation in this book and have it come from someone who, like, is very similar to, I would say, our main character here in her relationship with her family. There's a lot of family relations in here as far as, like, traditions and respecting your elders and things like that. So there's a lot of that conversation and, like, where that line is in connection to, like, modern day and modern social norms and things like that. So I thought that the conversations in here were really interesting, but this is just shenanigans, like pure shenanigans, pure chaotic fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm very curious because this is the first in a series. The second one came out this year, and it's called Four Aunties and a Wedding, I want to say, and it follows Madeline at a wedding, and, like, the mafia shows up or something. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm not even sure what we're getting into, but, like, this takes place in one day, except for, like, the very, very beginning. Like, once you get to part 2, which is about 50 pages in, then it takes place on one day. But the beginning part is, like, leading up to, like, when she was in college, kind of explaining the relationship that she had with this guy, and then the blind date that she has. It was just chaos. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, this was just pure chaos, and I loved it. So, 4 stars, and now I'm officially done with everything that is required for my career. But I still have a couple of days left in the vlog. Oh, I did start my nonfiction book, though. So I did start it. Not a whole lot. I'm like 36 pages. Yeah, so I'm on chapter 3. Finding this, I was already immediately interested in it the minute I started listening to it. I don't know. There's something about her writing that really, like, hooks me in. But it's kind of formatted in a very interesting way. So it starts with, like, a foreword that talks about Marie Antoinette as she's leaving the castle, when, like, her castle with her husband and her kids, when, like, the revolution starts, and then it goes to the first part, which follows her mother, so Marie Theresa, and it follows her life, and then the second part is all of their kids, so, like, the 3 daughters. It follows kind of, like, them, and then the third part, I'm not entirely sure what it's called, In the Shadow of the Empress, so I'm wondering if it's, like, the daughters and their respective lives under, like, in the shadow of their mother or something like that. But it's very interesting to me so far. I'm already hooked. I really, really enjoy her writing, like I said. So hopefully I'll be able to get this done by the end of the month. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get it done by the end of this wow. Or I'm not going to get it done by the end of this vlog because I think I mentioned at the beginning, specifically with Nancy Goldstone, nonfiction's hard for me if I'm not 100% focused on it. I think that was the biggest reason why her last book that I read, I can't remember what it's called, The Winter Queen maybe, it didn't hit as well for me, but that's because there was a lot of players. It was like one mom and her, like, 5 female descendants, and so it was a lot at once, and I think I was trying to listen to it while I was doing other things, whereas this I need to do, like, menial tasks like the dishes or cleaning or, like, something that doesn't require a lot of thinking, which is why I think this will be good for later in the week when I'm driving. So with that being said, I am going to pick up another audiobook at work tomorrow, I think. I'm not sure. Well, I think I'm going to go. I was about to say I'm not sure which one I want to go with, but I think I do. I think I'm going to end up going with nothing at all related to anything I've said before, but Electric Idol by Katie Robert. This is the second in her Dark Olympus series. Now that I've finished what is required for my career, I'm not really worried about extra classes. So, like, even though, what was it, A Touch of Darkness is very interesting to me, I would still like to very much get around to that. It's not as much as a priority as maybe, like, extra adventures that are picking up points, whereas this one would be for. Because there's one more adventure that I read, which is a 5-star prediction, and I think that I'm going to really like that one because I did read the first one and adore it. And this one came out earlier this year, and the third one is coming out, I want to say June or July, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It's coming out a little bit later, so I'd love to get around to this one. I do have the audiobook on Scribd for this, so I'm going to probably pick this one up tomorrow. Probably will take me a couple of days, so I expect to finish that one by the end of this vlog, but probably not this one. But I will make lots of progress this weekend in this one, so expect it to be in my wrap-up, but maybe not in this vlog. But those are my thoughts right now. Now we're just kind of like adding extra things on now that I've completed what I need to complete. I feel successful. So as long as I can get some of these other things in just for fun, like extra points and such, I think we'll be good. But those are my general thoughts right now. I'll come back to you probably when I'm wrapping up this vlog, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm not sure when I'm gonna get around to talking to you again unless we're ending the vlog. But so far so good, and I did it. I've officially completed everything I need to, so I can be a I almost said curse breaker. That was like the first year I did this. Oh my gosh. I can be, why have I forgotten my own freaking career, Master of Elements. Wow. So I'm officially there. I've completed everything I need to. And I'm real worried about August, I'm not gonna lie, because I feel like there's a lot that I'm gonna need to read book-wise in August. Like, I think I'm gonna end up, I'm not 100% sure on the grading scale that she's got, but I think I'm gonna end up having to read like 12 things in August for the readathon, which is not the end of the world, but I'm a little nervous. Hopefully there'll be nicer prompts. That's like 3 months away. I don't even have to worry about that yet. But I did it. I freaking did it. And also I love them, and I might have to pick up the second one soon. Like, I'm going to the beach sometime this summer, so that might be a beach book that comes with me, because what's better to read on the beach than a book about 4 aunties in the mafia? But I'm excited! I don't understand. It was good. I really enjoyed it. So, yeah. Hello! So I am here because it's time to wrap up this vlog, but also I have updates for you. It is really bright outside, so I'm squinting. That's why, but the sun's going down, so I need as much light as I can. But I did the things. I finished the things. So I actually finished 2 books. There's like an asterisk next to 2, which I will get to in a second, since I talked to you last, and I am beyond excited. So the first one, which is the one that you guys knew about, was Electric Idol by Katie Robert. I read this one for like one of the extra adventure prompts, which was a 5-star prediction, and it got 5 stars. So I adored this book. It was really interesting getting back into this world, because I'm reminded kind of how much I loved the first book, which was Neon Gods, and just kind of like the reimagining that Katie Robert has done with like Olympus, and how it's basically like this city, and each of there's like 13 gods that like run the city, but each god is like, it's called like a legacy title. So people are like put in these positions. So like, for example, Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon are all like legacy, in the sense of like it passes father to son to child, that kind of thing. And then there are positions like the Aries position, which is when like an Aries dies because they've become really old, there's like this tournament that is done, and I'm imagining like Hunger Games style, to like figure out who's going to be the next Aries. And then there are people who are like voted, like Demeter is voted on, and so like you have your own name, and then when you become a legacy or one of the 13, then like your name is no longer yours. So like, for example, during one of these books we see a character become Hera, and so like she no longer is who she was. Her name is now Hera, and it's things like that, which I find really interesting, and just kind of like this idea, but it's very like brutal. And this one specifically, so this one follows the Greek myth of Psyche and Eros, and in this book Aphrodite basically has her son Eros, who is her fixer. So like he goes and takes care of things, aka he like kills people that annoy her, basically. And our main character Psyche has like pissed her off somehow, and so she tasks Eros to kill her, and he can't do it, so he ends up marrying her in the hopes of saving her, and it's the relationship between them. And this is, in this book, Demeter's her mother. I can't remember Greek myth-wise how accurate this is, but Demeter's her mother and Persephone is her sister. So you have that relationship that was already kind of established in the first book. You see that again in this book, which is really nice, and to see like the relationship between Persephone and Hades from like an outside source, and just kind of see how that goes, and just really see their relationship. And one thing that I like about this series over, let's say, her Wicked Villains series, is that these have more plot in them, whereas her Wicked Villain series are pure erotic stories with like decent much plot, whereas this one is like, they're very, very spicy books, but they have a plot, and the spicy scenes are, I'd say, close to half of the book rather than like 70% of the book. So I really like that. I also really like, you know, mythology retellings and things like that. So I couldn't put this down. I just kept wanting to read it, and I just love that feeling. And so I'm really excited that I actually decided to pick this one up, because now I'm up to date as far, well, almost up to date as far as the series. She does have another full-length one coming out later this year. I'm blanking on when it's coming out, but she's got another one coming out this year. She does have a prequel that's out, which I do have, and it's like a Medusa kind of retelling, but it's a short story. And then there is a short story in between the first and the second book, which is called Hades and Hades, which is the second book that I read. There's no cover to it because it's a Patreon exclusive short story, and I am actually part of Katie Roberts' Patreon as of like really, really recently, but I went back to find it, and it's like a 10-page ebook. It's super short, but I found it really interesting because it links the Hades in this book with the Hades from the Wicked Villains series, which I read earlier this month, and it really ties those two, because I was wondering how that was going to work, and it makes them father and son. And so it kind of shows that connection, which I really enjoyed, having that connection, because like, how can you have two Hades? But Hades is a title, and it's not like the name of these characters. They just kind of like take on the name. And so the second one, actually, I was able to fit it in for the Prompt Spells and Incantations, which is a short story or essay. Again, this was like the shortest of short stories. Like, it was 10 pages on my phone. So I was able to sneak that in today too, which I really didn't like, because I was like, how do you have these two Hades? But I liked seeing how she connected them, and there's possibility for more. There's possibility for more short stories that kind of show the relationship, because like the short story I read is literally just like Hades, the Hades in the Hades in the Dark Olympus world finding out about the Hades in the Wicked Villains series. So it was really interesting seeing that. It's so short, not a whole lot happens, but I'm curious to see like other perspectives, like the other Hades finding out about this Hades and things like that. So I was able to finish 2 things, because I'm counting the short story, which means I got another class done when I didn't even mean to. I just was really curious and wanted to find it, and I figured out that I was able to find it, and so that made me really happy. So I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole today, but I finished the 2 things that I finished the 1 thing that I really meant to, which was Electric Idol. Loved it. 5 stars. Amazing. Oh, also I gave Hades and Hades 5 stars, but that I feel like is just self-explanatory as well. So the only other thing that I'm currently working on still is Shadow in the Empress. I have been listening to it on and off over the last few days. I made it to chapter 10, which is in the second part, and it's 193 pages into the book. So a pretty decent chunk. Do I think I'm going to finish this by the end of the week? I'm not sure. If not, it'll be the first thing I finish in May. Like, I will finish this on the 1st of May, which is Sunday. So I could definitely see myself like finishing this driving back home. But I'm not going to finish it for this vlog, like I've mentioned before. So that's where we're going to actually end this vlog. I do still have plans to finish this before the month is over, but we'll see what my reading is like. But I've been able to read it or like listen to it while I've been driving, which has been a really nice way to like focus on what's going on. And now I've gone down the rabbit hole of I want all the Nancy Goldstone things, because every time I read one of her books, I'm reminded how much I love them. So that's kind of it for this month. Thank you guys for joining me on the journey that was Magical Readathon Revamped. I was able to finish everything I needed to for my career and fit a few extra things in, get some extra points in as well. I think I was able to get 30 points in for my little guild thing, so that was really exciting. I was glad I was able to get some of those things in, some arcs that I needed to get done, and some books like Electric Idol that I've been putting off reading, but I really needed to, and I'm glad that I have, because now I've caught up mostly on that series. So yeah, that's it. Let me know down below. This will probably be coming out. No, this will be coming out on the last day of the month, so let me know how you guys are doing as far as your Magical Readathon experience. Did you finish everything you needed to? Were you the career that you had set out to be? Also, what was your career that you set out to be? And of all the books you read in April, what was your favorite? But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as other fun bookish links, so don't forget to check all that out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!